National Research Council about 10 years ago when they first set up in New Brunswick with his now boss, Christian Couturier. And the college is a satellite link, and we're working on an NRC project right now. Hopefully the network will happen, but it's great to see Ken here from Fredericton. Fredericton's office is the IIT Center for Canada for Information Technology. And in the showcase in the gym, you'll see 3D imaging from his staff from Ottawa and Fredericton. And there's a display there showing some of the 3D digital human technology. They even took the Mona Lisa, scanned it in 3D, and they take paintings and make them 3D art. And it's amazing some of the technologies. And their scanner went up. Their scanner 10 years ago went up in the shuttle when I was working there. The high resolution scanner. So it's amazing what Fredericton are doing now with augmented reality and the military with D&D. So I'm really glad, Ken, for you to come up. Maybe talk brief about yourself, your background, and thank you for coming.
All right.
Give my hand, folks.
Thanks a lot. And just tell you a bit about myself. I'm at the National Research Council right now, and helping to move a few projects forward. And I'm only there for a year. I got lent from UNB, lent me over to the National Research Council for a year, and so I had this big long list of things that I thought I'm going to get all this stuff done in a year, and I'm starting to run close to the end of the year, and I'm going, oh my God, I don't have as much done nearly as I thought I was going to get done. And I'm like going like crazy trying to get all these things closed off, and trying to make a lot of connections, trying to get some of the cool research that's happening out into industry and commercialized, because it is really cool. Like a lot of really interesting research that's going on. But the whole objective is not just to have research buried away in this National Research Institute, which is a Canadian, it's a Canadian government crown corporation. It's not supposed to be buried there. It's supposed to be out making good things happen for Canada. So getting it commercialized, getting it into the hands of corporations who can license the technologies that are being invented and actually help use that technology then to grow their businesses and become, Canadian giants and world leaders and things like that. So that's the kind of stuff that the NRC is doing. What I go back to at UNB is I run all the media stuff for the University of New Brunswick, all the online learning and media center, audiovisual, and media production, as well as the teaching and learning group there as well. So that's also kind of a fun area that I get to be involved in with the kind of regular education program. Before that, I got my kind of baptism in this world of e-learning is where I kind of first touched into that with a company called LearnStream that I owned for a number of years back in the 90s mostly. And so I sold that in 2005, and I've been doing a few other things since then that I've mentioned. But I won't go too far any further back than that in terms of my own background. But Canadian Digital Media Network. Okay, it's probably not on the tip of most people's tongues. Like, probably one of the questions you're asking is, what the heck is Canadian Digital Media Network? Has anybody actually ever heard of it before? Okay, there are two. Okay, two. That's probably about what I expect. It's not like, it's not in the news. You won't hear much more. So I'll tell you a little bit about it and what's happening.
Slides for you.
Sure. Okay. So yeah, the next slide just talks about an announcement that was made, a press release that went out, that the National Research Council Institute for Information Technology, IIT, has become the first Eastern Canadian node of this Canadian Digital Media Network. And so in the press release, Kevin Tour was the managing director of the CDNM, was talking about why the NRC is such a great partner and why we're a good node partner. That's his quote from the press release. But still the question is, on the next slide, you're wondering, okay, so what is this Canadian Digital Media Network? The federal government has this NCE program, National Centers of Excellence, and so they ask for people to make proposals to them. can you make a proposal for a center of excellence in some specific area of science and technology, and the federal government will put some money into that, and create these little hubs around the country in different areas, all kinds of different things, from nanotechnology to bioscience and all kinds of different things. But Waterloo, a group in Waterloo, Ontario, put together this proposal, and it was funded by the federal government to be a national center of excellence. The federal government put $10.7 million into it. The Ontario government actually put $26 million into it as well, so they got a nice chunk of money to work with. And then they have some nice partners as well, some industry partners who committed $50 million of in-kind support to the center. So put all that money together, that's kind of a nice pot of money involved in this area of digital media. I should also say, for the next slide, is that I could have been trying to make a liaison with this group in Waterloo, but there's another group, another National Center of Excellence out in Vancouver that just got funded, also in this same area. It's called GRAND, the Graphics, GRs, Graphics, Animation, and New Media and they're based on UBC. And they got a good chunk of money, I think 35 million out of the federal government for their, and I'm not sure what all the matching money is out there, but at least $35 million that they got from the federal government to create a center of excellence, also in kind of seems like a very similar kind of an area. Okay, so the next slide comes from their their website. Just says who they are, that they're the Canada's largest concentration of business driven, and business driven is kind of one that it's an important thing. It's not a university driven or something like that. And the three words in there, digital media research. So it's research, and then development, and commercialization. So those are the three key words of what their mandate basically is: research, development, and commercialization of technology is what they're all about. And the focus is on digital media tools, technologies, and applications in a few different industries. So they're not just in one industry. They're not just aiming towards the film industry or entertainment. They cover entertainment, healthcare, education, financial services, advanced manufacturing, kind of a number of different areas where their digital media can be applied. Now, I mentioned some of their the partners. The $50 million. You think, what kind of private sector companies could come up with $50 million? Okay, well, when you look at these companies, you think, okay, well, now I know where potentially $50 million can come from. When you think of Research in Motion, Open Text, AGFA, actually not quite so big, Christie, not quite so big, but still. And Open Text was probably the leader of this in terms of private sector company that really got behind the top. So they got some nice big companies. And one of the reasons why lots of people want to be connected to the Canadian Digital Media Network is because these guys are at the table, and some other nice big players. And so if you could be sitting on any meeting or be involved on a project somehow with Research in Motion, that's got to be good for you to be involved in. So that's one of the reasons why we think it's important to try to figure out ways to make these connections happen and get people to be connected. The next slide just talks about the potential, and this is something that if you're writing a business plan for your business, about why somebody should be investing in your business, this is one of those good kind of statements to have. The whole, the projected value of the whole new media sector is US $2.2 trillion. Okay, that's a good starting statement. You can't leave it there and say, yeah, and we're going to get 2% of that or something. Okay, you have to have a few details in between there. But people like to see that yes, it's important, and people believe that this is a growing industry. And it's one of the reasons why the federal government just recently has talked about the digital economy as being something that they want to be putting focus on and money into. The next slide is oh, it might be unreadable at the back, I'm not sure.
It's true, links for that.
These guys said, okay, well, here's the things that we include, because they go, okay, digital media, like what exactly are you focusing on? And so they kind of drew this bubble diagram that shows a few different areas that they are including in digital media, and some of which you may say, that's not really digital media, or whatever. This is their definition. But that whole Web 2.0, Web 3.0 at the top, under which they include things like streaming and e-learning and semantics. So some of that, interactive web kind of stuff is what they believe is part of it all. They don't really specifically mention social media, social networking, but that would be part of it, an important part of what they're talking about. The whole mobile apps kind of thing, so anything in mobile apps are important. Gaming is an important part of what they see. Digital content, which they refer to as 2D and 3D is something. Cinema, so getting into the digital cinema can be the animated